We'll make a start. Welcome to everybody. We're delighted to have you on board as we do this presentation with Cointree. Cointree, as we know, are a sponsor of BGL, and I'm delighted to have both Lee and Shane here with us. So Shane, CEO and founder of Cointree, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thanks for having us, Daniel.
How long have you been doing this for?
Long time now, almost as long as crypto itself. So Cointree's been running for about 7 years.
Yeah. And yourself, Lee? And what's your role, Lee?
So I'm head of growth, and I've been with Cointree since December last year. So still somewhat fresh, but the industry has been moving so fast that it doesn't feel like that anymore.
Yeah, look, we're delighted to have you on board, and we know that this is such a topical issue and something that there's lots of talk about, and I suppose there's lots of truths and misconceptions. And I know today, audience, you're in for a treat where the guys will go through with you what Cointree is about, a little bit about the history of Cointree. They'll also give you a little bit of details around crypto and a bit more of a definition around crypto, the importance of diversification, and then really important, how to get started in the area of cryptocurrency and how Cointree can support that. And then for many of you, I know that you'd like to also see how the Cointree integration works with Simple Fund 360. So during the presentation with both Shane and Lee, you can ask questions during it. So Lee will be reviewing those, and if he feels that there's a question that can be answered, then he will ask that of Shane. But at the end of the session also, we will hang around for a period of time to go through any questions with you. So thank you everyone for joining us. You're in for a treat. I'm going to hand that over to you, both Shane and Lee, and I'm very interested in what you're going to be going through.
Yeah, thank you very much, Daniel. All right, do we have control of the screen and session?
Yep, so yep, you have.
Yep. But it covered a bit of this ground already.
All right, well, first of all, anyway, well, thanks everyone for joining us today. We're very excited to be here and talking to you guys. We've done a few of these BGL webinars, and but the last one was a while ago, actually. I was trying to think if it was pre-COVID or not. So hope everyone's doing well, and we're excited to be here today. Lee, I'll let you kick off with our usual disclaimer.
Yeah, so we do obviously have to just let everyone know that the information provided in this webinar is just for information purposes only, and is not intended to be providing commercial, financial, investment, accounting, tax, or legal advice. And the advice is general, and contents will be prepared without taking anyone's personal circumstances into account. Obviously, if you do have any questions, it's best to speak to a financial advisor or a qualified practitioner.
All right, thanks, Lee. Let's jump into it. All right, now, do you want to do the intro for Cointree, or are you happy for me to take the lead here?
I think you can take the lead.
All right, okay. So Cointree is a cryptocurrency exchange. We've been around since 2013, and we're here to make getting into cryptocurrency easy for all Australians. I think we have approximately 100,000 customers, and yeah, we've been around for about 7 years now, and we have all sorts of customer types. We've got individual accounts, self-managed super fund accounts, and accounts for trusts and corporates as well. Our mission is to make it as easy as possible to get into cryptocurrency, and it's not just about Bitcoin anymore. There's hundreds and even thousands of cryptocurrencies. Our platform supports over 160 currently, and we're always looking to add more. In terms of where we sit in terms of compliance and regulatory landscape, it's a fast-moving industry. We are registered with AUSTRAC, who is Australia's anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing body. So just like all financial services, we've got a whole bunch of obligations very similar to banks. We have to verify our customers, and we have to kind of do some monitoring and reporting to AUSTRAC as well. In addition to AUSTRAC, we work with the ATO as well to provide data to them. What this means for you and today our audience of accountants and other financial advisors is that we are one of the leaders in terms of exchanges that provides really good reporting for cryptocurrency customers to provide to you guys to help you with your job in assessing capital gains and reporting to the ATO. Do you want to add anything on before I
I think it was really well put, but I think absolutely like the point about like having those taxation tools and making it easier for people who are investing in cryptocurrency. It's one of the big things that we like to sort of promote as much as possible, both internally and to all of our customers, just making it easy and accessible. And so one of the things that we'll talk about later on is our BGL integration, which just makes it incredibly easy to integrate the transaction records into BGL Simplifund 360 and make your job a lot easier as well, and save you some time.
Yeah, look, Lee and Shane, I think this is a really important part of your presentation, because I'm jumping on many of the Facebook posts. I often see many questions being asked about how on earth do they track the movements and how on earth do they audit things and then also report to the ATO. So I know you're going to touch on that, but it's a really important point, because like I've seen some of the files that come out myself, you've got hundreds of lines of transactions for minimal movements, but they're all important to capture, because we also know the ATO is cracking down on this stuff too. So that insight you can provide would be amazing, and yeah, our audience will really benefit from it.
Yeah, absolutely, Daniel. I mean, the fact that in tax returns now there's a cryptocurrency field as of a year or two ago just shows how much adoption there's been, and we'll touch on that shortly as well. But yeah, and also with the ATO's position that every trade being a taxable event as well, and cryptocurrency being so easy to trade, yeah, it causes quite a lot of transactions that need recording. So we're really excited about the integration that we have with BGL.
Yeah.
All right, Lee.
So today what we'll be covering, we'll talk a little bit about cryptocurrency and what's happening in Australia, a little bit about SMSF and investing in cryptocurrency, and just a little bit of an overview of the ATO stance on crypto as well. We'll head into why crypto is becoming popular, so talking a bit about asset diversification, and then we'll talk to a bit of a demonstration of the Cointree platform and also the reporting that's available for BGL users and anyone who's got a Cointree trading account, and then we'll open up for some Q&A also following that. So firstly, I guess the big question is what's happening in crypto? Well, there's a lot of stuff happening in crypto, and this year has definitely been heating up. As I mentioned earlier, I started in December, and the year has sort of just like skyrocketed in terms of people's interest and desire for cryptocurrency. It seems you can almost walk into any shop, any place, now that COVID is allowing it to some of us, unfortunately, and you'll hear crypto on everyone's lips. So the latest figures are it's nearly 1 in 5 Aussies actually own cryptocurrency, which is quite huge considering, you know, just a few years ago it was somewhere around 10%.
Yeah.
And then what we also saw was that just in January this year, nearly 500,000 investors have actually come on board with crypto. And if we look at that growth in perspective of self-managed super funds, in Q3 alone, so just the January to March period this year, our SMSF account applications were up 53% of what the entire 2020 calendar year was. So we're definitely seeing substantial growth and interest in cryptocurrency coming from, you know, individuals as well as self-managed super funds. For those people who are looking to invest in crypto through their self-managed super fund, there's a couple of, I guess, basic things that need to be considered when doing this. One of those things is just making sure that under the SMSF's deed, it is allowed, and ensuring that also their investment and strategy allows cryptocurrency investment as part of it. And finally, just making sure that it's not breaching the sole purpose test. So with Cointree, when you set up an SMSF trading account, that's what you actually trade with, and it will be linked up with your SMSF transactional bank account. And we have some checks in place so that we can actually verify where funds are coming from. And our team are well equipped to actually ask questions if the funds are not coming from the right sort of accounts as well.
I think this is actually one of the most crucial things, is that the account setup is done accurately, because we see with ourselves, and also we hear some horror stories as well. If someone may be starting up a self-managed super fund, but initially investing personally, and then trying to transition that or trying to get that deemed under the self-managed super fund, and vice versa as well. And same with just trusts and even, you know, sole trader accounts as well. It's so crucial with cryptocurrency, just like any sort of asset that incurs capital gains, to make sure that you're trading under the right entity. It just makes things a lot easier when it comes to tax time.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that we wanted to talk to was just around the stance from the ATO. So the ATO has deemed cryptocurrency to be a CGT asset, and it's obviously nothing newsworthy about this. Most of you will already be aware of it. What they have also advised is that the valuation of cryptocurrencies is accepted at June 30. And so that's working with whichever broker or exchange you are working with, whether that's Cointree or another, and seeing what that valuation is of the cryptocurrency at June 30. Obviously, record keeping, which we touched on briefly before, is essential, and it can get quite complex, which is why we've stepped in with a solution to make that easier. And then the other thing is around GST. So GST is applicable on brokerage fees, not the purchase of the shares or cryptocurrency itself. So there are just some other considerations around the ATO stance on cryptocurrency. Then if we want to look at, obviously, the growing demand, what is driving that demand? I'm going to throw over to Shane to talk through what is driving demand.
Yeah, that's it, right? So, I mean, a big question for you and your clients as well is why consider cryptocurrency, or maybe you're already dealing with a lot of clients and wondering why there's so much uptake. So there's a lot of answers to that. So today we're going to cover the area of the asset diversification, which is, and we're going to break and focus down onto these initial areas, which is just explaining how cryptocurrency is a new asset class. It's a decade old now, and gaining massive attention. We're going to look at how it's uncorrelated with traditional assets and why that provides value for asset diversification, and also how it differs to gold as well, because in a lot of ways it's very similar, and how it acts as an inflation hedge as well, which is very interesting from an investment perspective. First of all, let's touch on how it differs. So Bitcoin is, in a really simple term, digital money. So, and when we compare it to the properties of money, which is fiat currency, which is US dollars, Australian dollars, and all physical currencies, it shares a lot of the same properties. It's portable, it's durable, it's adoptable, which means that I can give it to someone and they're likely to accept it. And I guess in Bitcoin's case, there's increasing acceptance of Bitcoin as a currency. So we find it is very comparable in terms of physical money, which is why it's often called digital currency. Then we can also look at it from a gold perspective as well. Gold has got a lot of value because it's seen as a store of value. So for investment purposes, people get it knowing that it's going to hold its value and hopefully increase over time as well. And the main reason gold has value for that reason is because it's so scarce. Gold is one of the most scarce asset classes that we have. But the reality is that we actually don't know how much gold there is out there. Whereas with cryptocurrency, how that compares and is sometimes called digital gold is because there is an absolute fixed supply of Bitcoin that can ever exist. It's 21 million Bitcoin. And the way the ecosystem works is that over time, more and more Bitcoin gradually gets released into the supply. And when you apply simple demand and supply, thinking to that, it means that if demand increases over time, and we'll touch on why demand might be increasing over time shortly, it means that because we know that there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin, and you could even say less than that because it gets lost or for various reasons, the supply might decrease. There's been some horror stories of people losing hard drives and their private keys, unfortunately, but that overall decreases the supply as well. And it's all driven by maths as well, which means that that's what gives us the confidence of that 21 million Bitcoin. So when we compare it to gold, that's why we also see Bitcoin in particular getting a lot of attention recently, because people want to look to diversify their assets. And when they're comparing gold versus Bitcoin, sometimes they're choosing Bitcoin because it's even more scarce than gold. Quickly looking at Bitcoin's adoption over the last decade, we've seen an exponential curve, which is very similar similar to other technologies such as the internet, where adoption starts off pretty slow, and then we start to see some mass awareness. So looking back over the last couple of years, in 2017 in particular was probably what we called the first glimpse of mass adoption, where the general public started to maybe hear about Bitcoin, maybe didn't take it seriously back then, but people started to hear of it and started to kind of take notice. Then here we are in 2020 and 2021, where almost everyone's at least heard of Bitcoin. And then as what Lee's touched on before, about 1 in 5 Australians have actually owned cryptocurrency. And we, just based on our experience with our customers as a digital currency exchange, we're just seeing record numbers with more and more attention towards Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So this curve here, we anticipate continuing sharply rising. This chart here is a little bit old. We actually presented it in the last webinar, but it was really interesting because it was the first time any country, and this one here is of Russia, probably about 12 months ago now, they had just announced that cryptocurrency for the first time ever has outpaced gold in terms of investments from new investors. And we're continuing to see this as an uptrend. And this is what I touched on before of how cryptocurrency, and especially Bitcoin, is comparable to gold and also to fiat money as well. Over time, we're expecting more and more adoption into cryptocurrency. And then touching on to actual use cases, or just some theory playing out here. So this is a traditional 60-40 portfolio, and then showing a small allocation into Bitcoin and how much of an impact that makes. So still managing your risk, but then also having reasonable, well, outpacing it at 60-40 portfolio in terms of returns. Since talking to this chart over the last 12 months or so, because we presented this in the last webinar as well, mentality has really shifted. Probably from, if we look back maybe 2 years ago, when it was, you would start to hear some people recommend diversifying into Bitcoin, but not too many. And there were a lot of naysayers. And then 12 months ago, we started to see that start to shift, probably about a 50-50 split. And then here we are today in 2021, where it's more often than not, you're hearing someone recommend at least a small amount into cryptocurrency. You always need to manage your risk, but it's very, you less and less hear of people saying just avoid cryptocurrency altogether. It's way more common these days to hear say, all right, you should maybe dabble or diversify a little bit into cryptocurrency, whether it be 5, 10, or 15%. And then touching on into inflation, this is a big topic all in itself, which is, why does inflation occur, and then why do people want to diversify against it? To quickly give a quick picture of what's going on. I mean, the US in particular is printing money like crazy, more than we've ever seen before. And what we saw in 2020, so this is even before the pandemic really kicked off, and those various surplus announcements got made of trillions of dollars. Even before then, we saw a massive rise in the amount of US dollars getting printed. And when we apply supply and demand economics against that, it means that over time there's going to be inflation. A quick fact on this chart is that area that's circled there, that is more than the entire amount of money that existed full stop in 2009. So if we take a snapshot of 2009, and then we look at that spike there, that spike outweighs the amount of total money that existed in 2009. So that's just crazy. It's not just a theory at play here with hedging against inflation. We're actually seeing companies and also funds now take this very seriously. So MicroStrategy announced, I reckon, around 18 months ago that they were now starting to move their balance sheet into Bitcoin. And then we've seen other companies do so. We saw Tesla do it and then undo it a little bit. And we've seen other companies start to embrace it seriously as diversification, even on their balance sheet or their treasury as well. So this is now massive institutions and companies now taking Bitcoin very seriously to help hedge against inflation. And that is a really quick overview in terms of some of the reasons why Bitcoin's attractive and cryptocurrency as a whole, as asset class. Being entirely new, there has taken some time to build up confidence. Bitcoin's now just past being a decade old. And I think now a lot of people do take it seriously, and we definitely see that with our own customers, both retail investors, but also self-managed super funds and trusts as well. We think there's some positive times ahead, and this is just some of the reasons why Bitcoin and cryptocurrency might be interesting for you and your customers.
Yeah, great.
And without further ado, I guess we should do a quick demo of the platform to show just how someone might get into and buy cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Daniel, do we have any questions touching on that? It's such a big topic, diversification.
No questions at the moment. But if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask, feel free to do so. As we're more than happy to answer them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we're happy to answer them here today as well as you can reach us. We've got a fantastic support team and also account managers that you can talk to as well. So if anyone wants to talk to us after the session, they're more than welcome to.
So just into this next part, this is the user experience that they will see as part of their, like a trading account.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got an example account here open of someone who has already done some trading, and we'll just walk through the initial process for a brand new customer. But then we thought we would show this page here, this particular account, because it actually has some activity going on, which is relevant because we want to show the transaction side and the reporting side. For tax purposes.
Yeah, and this is the same sort of account of what it will look like, whether you're an individual or an SMSF. We obviously have different processes that are in place for various account types. So if you are a SMSF customer, there are certain forms that we need to be checked. And obviously we have our support team who will be validating that cryptocurrency has been added to the deed as a consideration. And obviously just making sure that all the SMSF accounts is set up and linked with an SMSF bank account as well. But at least it's a very clear and easy way to see how you can trade and start investing in crypto.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thanks, Lee. Okay, so we won't spend too long on this. We'll just give a quick overview for anyone who doesn't realize just how easy it is to get Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So we are registered with Austrac, which means that we need to verify our customers, but it's a really simple process. So you would go to an exchange like Cointree, so cointree.com, and you hit the sign up link at the top right. You put in your email and password, just like most platforms, and then once you've confirmed your email, you're into your account. The very first thing you need to do before you do buy cryptocurrency is just like as if you wanted to go into a bank and open up a bank account, you need to supply some ID documents. And that's actually done all nice and digitally, and actually you don't have to supply any documents per se. We'll guide you through the process of verifying, and it can take as little as 5 minutes. So you just punch in your name, date of birth and address, and then we actually check government data sources behind the track. And in most cases, you're verified pretty quickly. And you need to supply a photo as well, just to make sure that you are who you say you are as well.
So just Shane, just a real quick question. A client's asked a question, Jimmy Morrison, can you set up an SMSF, an individual account with the same login details? So making it easy to switch within accounts, so switch between both within an account?
That's on the roadmap. For now, we keep email addresses as unique identifiers. So you'd have one email address for individual and one for your self-managed super fund. And we find that actually helps people get in the mindset of having two different accounts as well, because we don't want anyone making a mistake of, I guess, accidentally doing a trade or depositing into the wrong account, because it gets pretty messy there, both for the customer and also our support team is trying to help guide them and educate them on making sure that it's all nice and clean. That feature is definitely on the roadmap. There's just considerations about how we balance that, making the accounts nice and clean with that process as well. Did you want to add anything there?
Yeah, no, I just think that it's pretty important for auditing purposes as well, that it needs to be kept quite separately, especially with the fact that funds and anything of this investment nature needs to be kept as sole purpose. Just crossing those lines can become a bit blurry, so it is important to have the two separate accounts.
Yeah. Excellent question. Yeah. So coming back to the demo, so once you do have a verified account, then you get to deposit some money and then make a purchase, which is really straightforward. This works, right? Yep. So you go to your wallet here, deposit cash. Now we provide lots of different ways of funding your Cointree account. You can use standard internet banking, which is the online option. Australia introduced the Pay ID system a couple of years ago, and we fully support that. So that allows you to send from your bank account and have it instantly received in your Cointree account. You can take cash into over 1,300 outlets across Australia. And also you can set up recurring purchases as well, which we find our customers love because it allows them to invest basically without emotion. It's called daily cost averaging, where you're just investing small amounts over time, and therefore it doesn't matter how the market's performing. With Bitcoin, performing so well year on year, one of the most solid investment strategies is to actually just invest long term, especially so dollar cost averaging through recurring purchases is actually quite a well-used feature on our platform there.
Yep, Shane, just a couple of questions that have come through. One from Jamie Knight, which says, how secure are funds coins? Have you had hacks in the past? What refund security model do you follow?
Yeah, okay, so we haven't experienced any hacks, and in terms of security, we have bank grade security. So we encrypt everyone's data. We actually encrypt it with NASA standard, NSA standard encryption levels. And then we have things to protect our customer in place as well. So we're two-factor authentication. If anytime anyone wants to withdraw, whether it any cryptocurrency assets, instead of just proceeding with that request, we actually send them an email first, which means that they need to also have ownership of their email address, which means that if their Cointree credentials got hacked, it means that they're actually safeguarded because they need to also have access to their email to authorize the withdrawal request as well. So that protects anyone gaining access to an account and also just taking coins out of it.
And just another one that also came through, which I think you'll be able to answer within the same sort of context. Can you and how do you transfer existing holdings of crypto into Cointree?
Yeah, great question. I might just demonstrate that quickly. So on the receive coin page here, we list all the coins. Well, you can deposit any of the 160 coins. Some are automatic and some require some staff assistance. Take Bitcoin, which is the most popular cryptocurrency. You just click that you want to receive Bitcoin into your Cointree account, and then we show this QR code, and pretty much at least every mobile app, you'll be able to scan that and send your Bitcoin straight to your Cointree account. Or if you're using something that doesn't have a camera, like the same mobile laptop or desktop device, we give you your Bitcoin address that you can just copy and paste into wherever you want to send from. That's really simple. And then within a confirmation or two, on average, maybe 10 to 20 minutes, depending on the Bitcoin network, we will receive it and you'll have it there in your Cointree account.
And I think this is also another interesting one, which hopefully you can answer. But on 30 June, we know that many portfolios get revalued or get valued, Shane and Lee. And what Stan Pilkadaris has asked is, shares can be valued at the close of each of day, whereas crypto trades 24 hours and price can vary so much, or 10% per day. Can we pick a time in the day to have the coin valued at?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, cryptocurrency does introduce an interesting challenge because the markets are open 24/7. And then unlike the ASX, there's multiple markets as well. Every exchange is essentially a market. And it's a challenge that we are trying to work on as well. The ATO's advice is that you just need to value it at the 30th of June, and they haven't actually specified a time. So it leaves some room for, I guess, self-assessment in that regard.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we try, I mean, for example, for us trying to help our customers with that, we provide monthly holding statements, and we also provide this BGL export as well, which has an AUD equivalent to help people have a bit more certainty around those end of month values or the end of financial year values. We'll touch on the reporting a little bit later if anyone is interested.
Yep, and then also I assume at the end, because I've just got another question that's come through from Jamie, what are the back end fees on purchasing trading? You'll go through all that at the end?
We can probably touch on that now. So, I mean, like in brokerage fees, so a lot of the industry, there's various pricing all around. Some competitors are charging up to 3% for their brokerage fees. With Cointree, we're actually quite low at 0.9% starting from, and you can get down to 0.5% when you're actually trading quite a bit. And then for coin to coin, which it's not a very big market, not a lot of people offer this feature just yet. But trading coin to coin, we charge from 0.25% down, which is actually the lowest in Australia as well.
Okay, thanks, Lee. That looks like, oh, Daniel.
Yeah, no, there is one more, because, you know, the clients are asking some great questions, but they're saying one of our clients, or Jamie Knight, uses CoinSpot, and just wanted to know what are just some of the differences between what you offer and CoinSpot.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'll probably defer to Lee shortly as our head of growth. But for now, what I'll say is, I mean, we're both very similar businesses in terms of we're cryptocurrency brokers, and we support over 100 coins as well. Our value prop is more around trying to educate customers and trying to make them have smarter trading decisions. So, for example, if you go to our homepage, what we do is we've got a portfolio section, and that shows, you can see at a glance how well, and this is our real customer data that's anonymized, so we can actually see real customer portfolios and how they've been performing over the last 24 hours or a week, just depending on how the market's going. And that's just one of the features that we have that we haven't seen nationally or even globally, to really help people such as you make smarter trading decisions, because with hundreds of coins out there, it's really hard to narrow down focus, like which projects are worthy of my attention and should require further investigation. So it's a great way of kind of like quickly identifying what ones other people are trading and holding, and also which ones might be interesting for you. Lee, did you want to add on anything?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is sort of that ease and making it accessible. So our platform, interestingly enough, CoinSpot and Cointree started around a similar time in 2013. So both one of the leaders, I guess, in the cryptocurrency space in Australia. But where we've sort of like really focused in on was just the user experience and making it as clean and as user-friendly as possible. Because cryptocurrency is such a large space, as you pointed to before. Like, there are so many cryptocurrencies. I think there's over 6,000 in the world at any one time, and some of them come in and they get a lot of glory, and then they sort of just fizzle out, which is why we have some strict processes around what we do and what we put on the platform. So we have just over 160 coins on offer at the moment, and there was a question about if we don't have a coin listed there, whether you can trade that in. Unfortunately, you can't trade coins that we don't manage on the platform into the Cointree platform, but you are able to trade in any of those other 160 coins, as well as also either send it in or obviously track any of that performance through it as well. And then I guess it's just really about looking at how we can actually offer additional experiences. So we've got our education content that's available on our website, which teaches you all about cryptocurrency, how to invest, what to look for, those sorts of things. And then we're ever expanding in our feature set as well on the product offering.
Yeah, and I'll actually I'll just now jump to the buy process. So just to wrap up the deposit process just very quickly, because we almost got there a moment ago. You pick your deposit option, and then you would say how much how much Australian dollars you want to fund your Cointree account, and then you hit the confirm button, and we're going to give you instructions, nice clear instructions on what you need to do. So if you pick the online deposit option, we'll show you the banking details that you need to put in your bank account to send the money into your Cointree account. And then once that money is received and processed, then the buy process, which is a little bit how we're different to some of the other players in the space as well. Whereas at the moment, we provide a nice, clear breakdown of exactly what's going on. You'll find that with other competitors, they're not quite as transparent about what's really going on. So some won't really tell you about the fees that are being charged, and then some do, but they're not 100% clear about it. However, with Cointree, transparency is one of the most important things to us, because we want people to have full confidence trading in cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency is new, and being a tech is quite intimidating as well. So we want to show people just how easy and simple it is to actually acquire cryptocurrency. So here I've got a $20 purchase for Bitcoin. And we call this error-proof trading, because with a lot of platforms, they don't really validate your inputs. Whereas with us, I've put in $20 and it's automatically calculated how much Bitcoin I'm going to receive. On the other hand, I could actually say how much Bitcoin I want to receive, and it will automatically tell me how much money I need to put in, have in my account to buy that. So if I go back to $20, a lot of platforms won't give you that protection, or they'll let you specify a price and amount, and then they'll try to fill it. This way, there's no mistakes that can be made at the time of making trade. And what we do is we actually provide a quote breakdown there to give you full confidence before you even hit confirm of exactly what's going on. So in this case, I'm spending $20. There's a 0.9% fee, so that's 18 cents. And then this is how much Bitcoin I'm going to receive in my account. When I hit that confirm button, it instantly executes, and it will then be in my account for immediate use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll just add to that, because there is a question about OTC for larger account amounts and trades. So we do actually offer OTC trading as well. So in those situations, you'll actually have an account manager that you can work with to make those purchases, which are obviously treated somewhat differently to how this purchase is made as well.
Yeah, great. All right. We'll try to wrap up the demo shortly because I see more questions coming through. In terms of other features we have as well is paying bills. So through our platform, you can pay any household, any BPay bill, so any household bill, so such as your ATO payment or gas or housing expenses. Any BPay bill you can actually pay with cryptocurrency, and it's as simple as putting in the bill code, the reference number, how much that bill is valued at, and then which cryptocurrency you want to pay with. And in this case, I'll be spending 0.001133 Bitcoin to pay my $50 bill. We find this is actually quite a nice feature for customers as well who want to pay their bills with cryptocurrency. Now, that's probably it before I get to the reporting. Were there any other questions or anything to touch on with the demo before we touch on the integration?
No, keep going. Look, there's a couple more questions, but I think we'll come to those at the end.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Lee? Yeah. All good? Yep. All right, so tax time. How do we help people? As we touched on earlier, a lot of other exchanges don't put as much emphasis on tax time for their customers, which is very unfortunate for a lot of consumers out there with cryptocurrency. However, fortunately for Cointree customers, we provide a whole bunch of different exports and reports that are useful for themselves and also for their accountants to process capital gains. We provide standard exports that a lot of other platforms provide, such as just export of orders and transactions, but we also provide invoices on absolutely every single buy, sell, and trade. This is really valuable and something that you would not find. I don't think any international exchanges provide it, and maybe some other local exchanges do. But yeah, we pride ourselves in terms of our reporting capabilities here. We also provide monthly holding statements as well, where we'll value your position at the end of every month. Then we also have account statements, which are very similar to bank statements, both for always the current financial year and also the previous financial year. And then while we're all here today, the BGL export file, which is has just been a fantastic piece that helps a lot of our customers with getting their data into Simple Fund 360 and calculating their capital gains. So we'll touch on that quickly. Maybe I'll stop the demo now. Yeah. All right, nice. Okay, so integration. So we have a data feed export from Cointree that goes straight into Simple Fund 360. It's an XML file, as you see there. So what you would do is log into your Cointree account and go to the transaction section. And then it's the final option of the export button there. And what that will do is quickly download a little file, XML file, that you import into Simple Fund 360. Regardless of the entity type, whether it be a self-managed super fund or other entity, you can import it into Simple Fund 360. Now, this is really useful for everyone because it allows you to automatically create the buy and sell transactions, so you don't have to manually enter them in. You can automatically creates the correct account in the chartered accounts. And it also, through the year-end process, can help calculate the capital gains. So a really useful feature for everyone. That's it. I'll hand over to you now, Lee.
So I guess we work with a lot of advisors and financial advisors, accountants, and other partners as well. And so I guess one of the key things that we wanted to let you all know was that we're here to help you help your clients. At the end of the day, as I mentioned earlier, it can be quite a confusing space. And we've got a team here that have been well equipped with knowledge and tools and tips to help and support both your practice or your client if they've got any questions. We offer a free 30-minute discussion, again, with either your practice or your client, should they have any questions. We've got an entire suite of education and training sessions that are also available. Shane's done a few of them himself as well. We've got account managers and dedicated phone support. So if there's ever any questions, we're always here to help. And we've also got a preferred partner program. So if you are an accounting firm that is dealing with cryptocurrency and you'd like to be built out on our network, we're building a network of partners who actually can assist customers. We have a number of customers who come through asking if there's a local tax agent in their area who can help them sort through their taxes at the end of the year. So if you feel like you would like to be a partner, or if you're dealing with cryptocurrency, feel free to reach out and we'll have those conversations. Or if you've got questions or have clients who have questions, we're always here to help as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I was surprised how many people want to reach out and find a local professional to help them. Yeah.
And then just as a bit of an offer for everyone on the webinar today, we are offering a free 30-minute consultation with our team to discuss any questions you have. Also, if you are interested in being a part of our preferred partner program, please feel free to reach out at hello@cointree.com. I think now we'll throw into some questions.
Yeah, so just a couple of things here. Just so that everybody knows, we will have a recording of the webinar available. I know that there was a request made of it, and I know it's quite an interesting topic, and one of the participants asked if they could show it to their SMSF trustees, which is awesome, because Cointree does really make it easy for you and for your clients to manage their whole cryptocurrencies. We've got a question here from Stan saying, is there an API between Cointree and BGL? Really, there's the data integration. So effectively what we're doing is we're pulling through to the data. Now that is in essence done via the communication means via the API. But Stan, if you're after a deeper integration or you wanted to know more about the integration, just let us know, because there could be other things that we could potentially add.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, do we have anything else, Lee?
I think that's it.
No, I think that I think you hang on, one's just come through now. You mentioned regarding valuation, you can pick a point of time on the 30 June. Are you able to provide that info?
Yeah, I'm just reading that question. A little bit ambiguous. I mean, we provided the tax determination back in that previous slide, so people can go back and look that up, the specifics, if you're talking about more about info in terms of like some evidence of that statement. In terms of if the question is more about can we provide that valuation? Yeah, absolutely. We provide it through, again, the monthly holding statements, also the export in itself. I think comes through to Simple Fund 360, and then I don't either currently or in the near future should have some daily pricing associated with it as well, and the account statements as well. I was just trying to think of what that third one was. So we absolutely provide through various exports that 30th of June valuation for our customers. I hope I answered the question and understood it properly. Oh, great.
Yeah.
We've got to thank you for everyone who can't read our questions.
So look, just another question that's come through, and I think this is an important one. Insofar as the integration, Shane and Lee, do you want to just explain, we know that the data comes through, but also what happens with the trades and the movements that take place, like what comes through from you guys to Simple Fund 360?
Yeah, okay, that's a great question. Probably to take a step back, I mean, I touched on earlier that cryptocurrency is really, because it's so easy to trade, people can quickly create a lot of positions, right? And especially with such, more volatile markets than a lot of other asset classes, people trade a bit more frequently than you might on other things like, let's say a stock market or even with commodities. The data that we provide is everything that we can provide essentially. So in the feed would be the asset being sold, whether it be AUD or a cryptocurrency, and also the amount, and then similar with the purchase asset and the purchase amount, the commission charged and the commission asset as well, because depending on the trade, it might be charged in AUD or one of the sides of the cryptocurrency. But the great thing about this integration is that Simple Fund 360 just handles it anyway. We provide it in a mechanism in a way that it just gets imported into Simple Fund 360, and it's you don't need to make any changes to the data. It just comes through, in the right places.
And the other good thing too is that Shane, I know you mentioned Simple Fund 360, but this is also extended to Simple Invest 360.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not just limited to self-managed super funds. If you have clients who are managing portfolios, say cryptocurrency or other types of investments in things like companies or trusts or individuals. So if I saw a question on there before about a person having their son who runs a cryptocurrency and they've got a few dollars in there, well, you can also use Simple Invest 360 to manage that portfolio also, because the feed is exactly the same.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Simple Invest, fantastic product. Yeah.
Okay, well, look, I think we'll leave it there, Shane and Lee. Obviously, if people want to reach out to you, by all means, they can they can contact Cointree, and I'm sure that you will be more than happy to help them out. But just on behalf of BGL, I'd like to just thank all the attendees for joining us today. It's been great having you on board, and the feedback's been fantastic. And Shane, Lee, I just appreciate the way that you've been able to explain a topic or an area that can be quite complex in a manner that it's easy for all of us to understand. And I think that, when it comes to this type of investing, a lot of people take the position of, I'm not going to invest in what I don't understand. But in a sense, you've brought some clarity to that and some certainty to that. And not only is your product a great product, but the way it then allows data to be fed into things like Simple Fund 360, Simple Invest 360 to make tax reporting, CGT reporting a lot easier for our clients, adds a great layer of comfort to them in doing their work and managing their clients, which is really important. And we're only going to see this area get stronger and stronger in the future. So thank you for what you've brought to the table. It's really good. I'm really appreciative of what you've done.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having us, Daniel. Yeah, I mean, one of the largest hurdles for cryptocurrency is just ease of use, right? And so we're happy to have this integration, and looking forward to doing more great things for BGL.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you soon. And as I said to everybody, there will be a recording available so you can go back and watch it at your own leisure. So thank you to everyone. There's a whole heap of other webinars coming up over the next week or so. Feel free to join us, and we encourage you to get behind Cointree. Great product, great people, and I know that you can, with confidence, know that all your cryptocurrency needs will be well managed and maintained with Cointree. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
See you.